Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have the Honda Ridgeline again with the same issue. We had the backup camera that has stopped functioning. Unfortunately, it seems like this is just a prone issue with these trucks. About a year ago, I took this tailgate apart, showed you how to identify what the issue was at the wiring harness located here next to the driver's side taillight. We took it apart, we soldered the connection, we heat shrunk it so that it would be waterproof, we electrical taped it, and then put it back. Well, yesterday it stopped working again. So unfortunately, we're going to have to take it apart again. And I know in that video that I did about a year ago, I described how I was going to replace it with the OEM harness. And when I looked at the cost of it and identified the fact that nothing had been changed at that time, there wasn't much for me to do. It was just going to repeat the issue again. So I thought that this was a definite better fix than replacing with the OEM harness. One, I was able to cheaply fix this and identify what the issue is, but then I wasn't going to spend $60, $70 to replace it. And to replace the wiring harness, you have to remove the rear bumper, the inner wheel well, a bunch of things have to come apart for us to do this, and I was just not seeing the benefit there. So here we go again. We're going to have to take this apart and then fix it. So unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast when it comes to this. And what I've identified with this truck is that it's the dual action tailgate that actually ends up breaking this. It's not the drop down, but it's the swinging out motion that ends up breaking this harness over time. So I know that there's a lawsuit that's going on with Honda over this because, as you would imagine, the camera is a safety function, a safety feature of this vehicle. It's also mandated by the government that you have to have these now. And a lot of people are experiencing this issue. Now, as I understand it, with the most recent iteration of the Honda Ridgeline, this has been addressed. Now, I don't know if that part number would interchange with this, but I'm not going to risk it anyways because I don't see the value in replacing with an OEM harness that is likely just going to do this again. What we need to do is figure out what's going on here and fix that. What is the root cause here? And to me, the root cause is something to do with the wire tension and it flexing over and over again. It's like it doesn't have enough slack, and because it doesn't have enough slack, it just ends up breaking. So let's get into it and let's see what's going on. part is gone ahead and test the backup camera with my current connection setup, and it does work, so that's great to know. What I'll go ahead and do is extend these two last gray wires. My concern was that the gray wires would be somehow different because they are not specified, but it turns out that they're the same. So the last thing to do here is to go ahead and close these connections up, extend them just as I did with the other ones. We'll tape them up really well. I'm not going to extend this white one because I'm hoping to kind of protect it with the other ones here that are extended, and then we'll put it back together. So the last step will be just basically seeing how I can mitigate this from becoming an issue again. Okay, here's my approach so far. I've gone ahead and extended the wiring harness, and I've placed it back into its original area. Now the electrical tape is preventing it from actually slotting back into its designated track, but I'm actually going to take that as an advantage. What I'm going to try to do is see if we can prevent the wiring harness from just getting caught up in certain areas, and create a little bit of slack here so that it can actually shift and move as needed. That should hopefully give it the tolerance that it needs to go back and forth, and not actually cut the wiring. Also, I put a liberal amount of electrical tape over there. One, for the weather protection, but for two, hopefully it'll take a long time to rub through this. That's the best I think that I can do. I think it's about the same, if not maybe a little bit better than the factory. So now basically all you have to do is put the cladding back onto the bed gate here, which isn't too complicated. Make sure you got all your connections and wiring where it needs to be, and you might want to try it out too to see how it works. So that's, and then this motion right here. Make sure that you're getting your tolerances right within the actual door gate. So right in here, you want to make sure that the wiring is not cut, or it has the ability to flex a little bit. And I think that's kind of the secret to this, is that you want to have a little bit of motion within this wiring harness. Yeah, I kind of like that a little bit more. It allows it to move a little bit more freely. Fully extended like it is right now, the question will be is it going to pick up on anything? And right now I don't think it is. I think it actually has a little bit more motion to it. Like I said, that's probably going to lend itself to it functioning a little bit better. What I would do though is take some like a zip tie and just zip tie it to this part, because you don't want this cable to come out. You want it to retain within the gate. I think if it was to come out, then you'd be into a different type of an issue, like it would flop out like this, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to make sure that it can move as needed. So we'll go ahead and put the gate back together. I've already tested the backup camera and it is functioning, so the repair is a good repair, and that'll do it for this video.